It's Thursday, and that means it's This Week in Destiny. Let's read. Bungie invited various content creators and some journalists out to HQ to play the Edge of Fate ahead of its release a few weeks ago. They all made a variety of videos and articles on their time with the DLC, which I'll link in the description. Now it's time for a quick Q&A with John Bungie. The community asked whether we'll be getting more bulk space. Bungie said, not right now, but there's plans for Renegades. The community asked if we can still use our current gear. Bungie said yes, there's nothing stopping us, but using new gear will help us create stronger builds. The community asked what new weapon archetypes are coming with the DLC. Bungie mentioned the new spread shot hand cannon, but will need to tune into their developer live streams to learn more about the new weapons. For those that are impatient, call out how the new video on some of the new archetypes, which is already in the description. The community asked if the director is going away. Bungie said no, but they're focusing on the portal being the main hub for the Edge of Fate. The director is still here, but Kepler will only be accessible through the portal. The community asked what unstable cores are. Bungie said they're a new currency obtained from dismantling high-level gear and other unnamed sources, and they will also be reset at the start of each 6-month season. We'll learn more about them in a future TWID. Now onto gear tiering and exotic armor 3.0. With the launch of Edge of Fate, armor stats are getting an overhaul. Mobility is now weapons, resilience is now health, recovery is now class, strength is now melee, discipline is now grenade, and intellect is now super. So what are those stats and what do they actually do? For health, having between 1 to 100 will grant 0 to 70 healing when picking up an orb of power, and 0 to 10% flinch resistance. Having between 100 to 200 makes shields start to recharge 0 to 25% more quickly, and take 0 to 50% less time to fully recharge. For melee, having between 1 to 100 improves the base cooldown of your melee and improves the amount of melee energy gained from sources, including regeneration speed scalers. Having between 100 to 200 grants 0 to 30% increased melee damage, which includes powered, unpowered, and glaive melee. For grenade, having between 1 to 100 is the same as for melee. Having between 100 to 200 grants 0 to 65% increased grenade ability damage. For super, having between 1 to 100 improves the super energy gained from damaging targets, and improves the amount of super energy gained from sources, including regeneration speed scalers. This does not change the base cooldown of your super. Having between 100 to 200 grants 0 to 45% increased super damage. For class, having between 1 to 100 improves the base cooldown of your class ability and improves the amount of class energy gained from other sources, including regeneration speed scalers. Having between 100 to 200 grants a 0 to 40 HP overshield in PvE and a 0 to 10 HP overshield in PvP. The duration of this overshield depends on the ability. Dodge and thruster last for 5 seconds, while barricade and rift last for 10. For weapons, having between 1 to 100 will improve weapon reload and handling speeds and improve weapon damage versus minor and major combatants. This is 0 to 15% for primary and special weapons, and 0 to 10% for heavy weapons. Having between 100 to 200 grants a chance for ammo bricks to contain more ammo than normal, and improves damage versus boss combatants and guardians. This is 0 to 15% for primary and special, and 0 to 10% for heavy. Against players, this is just 0 to 6% for I assume any weapon. Mobility, resilience, and recovery are going away with the Edge of Fate, so Bungie is making the following changes. Mobility is fixed to 30 for Titans and Warlocks and 40 for Hunters. There are leg mods that will make this higher. Resilience is fixed to 100, which is a 30% damage reduction, and recovery will be set to 60. You can think about it this way. There are now invisible stats that cannot be changed, technically. With this major rework of stats, Bungie has tuned the base recharge rates of abilities. Having between 0 to 30 in the relevant stat will have your ability recharge slower than it does in the current sandbox. At a high investment of 70 and above, they will be recharging faster than they do currently. Chunk energy gains such as Demolitionist will also scale with their associated stat. At 70, they will match the gains in the current sandbox and surpass them up to 100. Having below 70 will give less gain than currently. Regarding exotic armor, Ada will have a way for us to focus exotic armor with some influence over their stats, but for those that want to use their existing armor, they will have their stats updated as above. Ada's focusing will only be available during the Year of Prophecy. Exotic class items will also have their stats updated. This will be determined by your perk combinations. Prismatic is also being fine-tuned to reduce the potency. They're going to be doing this by reducing the fragment slots of certain aspects. For Prismatic Titan, Consecration will go from 3 down to 1. For Prismatic Hunter, both Ascension and Winter Shroud will go from 3 down to 2. For Prismatic Warlock, both Hellion and Bleak Watcher will go from 3 down to 2. Rite of the Nine is still going strong, and Prophecy is the current featured dungeon. Once we reach June 17, all dungeons will be unlocked. For the first week, there will be increased rewards, and the following weeks will have a rotating featured dungeon which will offer extra loot. From July 8 until July 15, a Lootapalooza will begin. This will increase rewards from all enemies and give us a new way to spend our currency. Here's the Rite of the Nine calendar for those wanting it. Now here's the calendar for the Nightfall and Trials of Osiris Adept rotations. Keep in mind that Adepts will be going away come Edge of Fate and will be replaced by the new tiering system. Now, this does not mean that your Adepts are literally going away, just that you cannot obtain them anymore. That's all for the game updates, and that's all from me.